What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. First off, I want to appreciate everybody that's been showing me like the love lately, likes, comments, subs, everything. Just past 500 subs. I want to keep it marching, keep it moving. I want to get to 1,000. It's a lot of work. I put a lot of effort and a lot of time into these videos. So any kind of support is very, very, very appreciated, and more good things will be coming, including at some point, I will be diving into other sports topics like the NBA, like the NFL, like Major League Baseball, all that kind of stuff at a later time. I'm still trying to push out these Chelsea videos and all that stuff. But once the NBA playoffs start and all that, I will be diving into the NBA as well. So if you want to stay tuned for that, drop a sub, drop a like, and let's get into this preview, man, for Chelsea versus Newcastle, along with Reece James signing a contract extension till 2032. So the club captain is staying. He's Chelsea through and through, probably until the end of his career. And that's fantastic news, along with Pedro Neto missing tomorrow's game. And a quick update on Esteval. He's not going to be available for this game. He's still not ready to come back. Hopefully, for the game against PSG, he's in the squad. I said I wanted him to start, but if it's a hamstring injury, you need to be cautious with him. He's only 18 years old. You can't afford to have him to have hamstring injuries or hamstring issues going into his 20s. So let's go ahead and dive into this preview, right? So Newcastle, Chelsea. Last time we saw Newcastle was at St. James's Park, and we were down 2-0. You know, we had a spectacular second half, 2 goals, Reece James, João Pedro, two guys who are showing that they're world class, honestly, right? The only two players right now that are showing they are world class quality in this squad. Yes, we know about Cole Palmer. Yes, we know about Enzo Fernandez. We know about a few other players in the squad, right? But those are the only two players right now that are showing their world class ability. Newcastle, on the other hand, are trying this experiment with Nick Waltermaid, where he's not playing center forward right now, right? And you're wondering why. A guy who's 6'6", 6'7", or 6'9", I think, right? Almost as tall, I think, as like Kevin Durant or like LeBron James, right? Why is he not playing at the center forward position? That's just something that I want to know. For a guy that's that tall, he should be a target in the box, not trying to build up attacks. But I'm not Eddie Howe. I don't make the team selections at Newcastle, so they obviously have a plan in place for him for that. So on top of that, Chelsea have a world of issues that are going on right now, right? Defensively, we can't stop a cold. Liam Rosenior can't seem to figure out who his number one goalkeeper is, right? And there's certain players in attack, like Pedro Neto, like Liam Delap, that just aren't getting it done right now. Cole Palmer is another guy right now, and that's my favorite player on the team. Just like a lot of other people, right? But he's not playing well. He hasn't been playing well. And yes, he scored a hat trick. Yes, he's gotten some assists. He's had moments where he's looked like Cole Palmer, but we're looking for the 90-minute version of him. The version that was a huge piece to the puzzle and why we were climbing up the table over the past couple seasons. When is he going to return? We don't know that. Yes, his body is there, but mentally he's not there. So as a fan base, we're trying to figure out, is he going to return at some point? Now, there's other issues going on at the club from the board level up that I will get into in a little bit. A content creator that I watch, a content creator that everybody knows of, recently had a meeting with Daniel Finkelstein, one of the directors there. And it's just very, very damning stuff that we're seeing when it comes to that. But Chelsea need these 3 points. Chelsea need to get into one of these top four spots. With a lot of the English teams not doing well in Europe this week, that fifth spot now is looking more up for grabs across the other leagues, meaning a top 5 spot, say in Germany or in Italy, will get them a Champions League spot. We had that last season with the Premier League. That's why you see Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, and Tottenham got in there because they won the Europa League. So 6 Premier League teams got into the Champions League last season. And you want to continue to see that as a fan of English football, but as a Chelsea fan, you just want to get inside of the top four and not have to worry about even being in the Champions League for next season. But this is the state of affairs that we're in right now. We find ourselves on 48 points, tied with Liverpool, only above them on goal difference, right? But Liverpool have a game at the weekend where they play Spurs, and Spurs are in the mud. So you're expecting Liverpool to get 3 points in that game. Are Chelsea going to get 3 points against Newcastle at the bridge? Now, Newcastle, when they come to the bridge, they generally do give us a game in recent memory, but they don't go there and get points. That's one of the grounds that they just don't go to and get anything out of it. And it's the same for us. When we go to St. James's Park, we don't really get any points out of it. The last win we had there was when Thomas Tuchel was there, and I believe we won 2-0. Reece James scored on that day. The guy that scored the guy that got the contract extension. Damn, I'm getting my words all mixed up here. But what kind of lineup could we expect to see against Newcastle, right? So in this video, I didn't already have it put up. I'm going to go through with you guys and why I'm choosing certain players. So we're going to go ahead and jump over here. Actually, before that, let me go ahead and get into a few other pieces of news before we get into my lineup here, actually. So one thing that I mentioned earlier was Pedro Neto is not going to be available for this game because of his stupidity against Arsenal getting 2 yellow cards, right? So it says breaking. Pedro Neto has been suspended for 1 game and will miss Newcastle tomorrow. Also, a $70,000 fine for misconduct that occurred after he was sent off in Chelsea's match against Arsenal on March 1st. So, if you remember what happened here, he, for some reason, was making it extremely difficult to come off the pitch when he got sent off for the second yellow. The second yellow was an absolute foul. It's a tactical foul. You're trying to stop the counterattack because Martinelli's going down the line, and the odds are is that he's going to find somebody in the box, and it's going to probably be 3-1 Arsenal, and the game is completely done. So he fouls him. But the first yellow card, you're approaching the referee, and in my opinion, I don't think he necessarily does anything. He doesn't. It doesn't appear he says anything to the referee that's negative, but you don't know. And whatever happened between him and the referee, he got that first yellow. Enzo Fernandez, I think, also got a yellow card in that same moment. So it's just poor discipline at the end of the day. When you have one of your most experienced players getting a yellow card for dissent, and then you're doing a stupid tactical foul like that, yeah, man. I mean, you deserve the 1 game ban, and at the same time, you deserve to have that 70,000 pound amount docked out of your wages. But at the end of the day, that's nothing to Pedro Neto. Honestly, like it's really nothing, right? So another thing I wanted to get into real quick before I get into this lineup here is talking about Reece James contract extension till 2032. The club captain, the boy from Cobham, he's one of our own, man. And it's just great to know that he's willing to stick around in a club that is in severe turmoil behind the scenes, right? Um, I can't stress enough how important this is. And I can't say the board is trying to win back the fan base, but I don't think it would have mattered who the owners were. They were always going to sign Reece James to a contract extension because he's Chelsea through and through. He wants to win with us. He wants to win the Premier League with Chelsea. I think that's his main objective. He's already won the Champions League with Chelsea, right? His main objective now is to win the Premier League with Chelsea, not just one, not just two, but multiple Premier Leagues with Chelsea. So I think that is the main objective. And to be here until 2032, I do believe at some point Chelsea will win the Premier League before 2032. I don't think it's going to be the next couple seasons unless the ownership model completely changes, which I'm going to get into after my prediction. Chelsea aren't touching a Premier League title for a pretty decent amount of time. So, Reece James, I've spoken to everyone at the club, from the ownership to the sporting directors. I'm fully behind the project and what we're trying to build. Now, that could just be PR. That could just be the owners telling them, this is what I need you to say after a contract extension, right? So, Liam Rosenior, we have secured the best player in the world at his position. And yeah, you did, but you need to bring in more experience around this guy because the guy wants to win and he's won with experienced players in the past, right? So you get experience around him. You had a few young players in that team that won the Champions League. Mason Mount, Reece James was considered a young player at that time, right? Ben Chilwell was considered a young player at that time, right? Kai Havertz, Timo Werner were all considered young players at that time, right? So they've won it with younger players, but the experienced players, Azpilicueta, Tony Rudiger, N'Golo Kante, right? Like you have players like that in your setup. A Thiago Silva, right? Probably the ultimate team captain was there and they won the Champions League together. You get experience with young players, you're gonna achieve something special. And that's something that I think the board is just misunderstanding. And when I get into what the board is talking about, man, it's like I don't understand their logic in any of this right now. But we're gonna go ahead now and actually speak on a couple more things when it comes to what Liam Rosenior said in the press conference, man. I mean, this right here is just one thing that I'm getting sick and tired of when it comes to the kinds of substitutions that you're making, right? He's speaking on the lack of subs here, right? And I'm gonna preface my comments by saying that I like Liam Rosenior. I do think if you keep him on, you give him a full season. I feel like you can do something with him, but he's saying we were in a really good place, and Chelsea were in a good place. They were tied 2-2, 74th minute. They're in the ascendancy. They were the ones dictating the play for 75 minutes of this game. The last thing you want to do is disrupt the flow of the game. So what he did was he took off João Pedro and Cole Palmer. When you're chasing the game, when you're down 3-2, you bring on Liam Delap, a guy that has not got it going whatsoever in a Chelsea shirt. You decide to bring him on. Now I understand Newcastle's at the weekend. You have one eye on the Premier League, but the Champions League is the focus right now, or it was the focus because I don't Chelsea aren't coming back down from 5-2. If they do, I'll hold my hands up. Hey, they fucking did it, right? But is it realistic? No. They're not coming back down 5-2. They're just not. If they do, I will hold my hands up and say, "Well done, boys. You actually did the impossible." But he watched the game back at 2-2. We're in the ascendancy. You were in the ascendancy for about three-quarters of this game. Then we make a mistake. The rest is history. Yeah. Who made that mistake? The goalkeeper you decided to choose. But then again, are we surprised that Jorgensen wasn't goal for this game, given what Enzo Maresca had to deal with team selection? And now you're hearing that the Chelsea board and the owners are using AI to pick a lineup for a game, not based off of form, based off AI. Like I understand AI is going to be a big part of sports going forward, but when it comes to like common sense and logic, AI is not always right. Have you ever gone on ChatGPT, on Gemini, on all these AI apps? They tailor to the person that is using it. So if Paul Winstanley, right, or Lawrence Stewart, right, or Begdad Iqbali, right, were putting their squad into Chat GPT and they said, give me a lineup for the game against Newcastle. They probably get two or three options, and they're getting the option that has players with resale value. They're not picking the best team. It's the resale value aspect. And that's something that, again, when I get into this part of the video, when I talk about the ownership, it's just disrespectful to the fan base, man. Just disrespectful, dude. Right. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead now and get into this lineup, bro. I mean, I'm gonna take a quick cut and actually build the lineup and I'll show you guys on screen what I came up with. So I cooked up this lineup right here. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Every single game you need to play your best 11. I'm sorry, but you're at the stage of the season now where there's no more chopping and changing of the lineups or experimenting with players in certain positions. You need to put your best 11 out there every single game. It does not matter who the competition is, and that includes Port Vale, right? I have Sanchez in goal. He needs to be reinserted. After the calamity that Jorgensen had, you put Sanchez back in goal and you let him ride out the rest of the season. I don't want to see Flip Jorgensen in goal for the rest of the season. You don't need to see anything else, Liam. You really, really don't need to see anything else. But knowing that Jorgensen is not the guy in goal for you, he's just not. If you're telling him to play out of the back, as a professional goalkeeper, you need to just read the situation better and go long and then explain to your manager why you decided not to play short. I mean, it's really that simple, right? It's really that simple. I mean, goalkeepers should have the license to dictate what they do with the ball at their feet if the situation calls for it to go long. That's just something that I feel like not even a manager should even be upset with. But we get into the rest of the lineup here, right? Sanchez in goal, you need him there. Reece James, the guy that just signed a contract extension, club captain, out there at right fullback. The experiment with him in defensive midfield is nice, but I don't think in this game is you're gonna need him to play in defensive midfield. With the two midfielders I have, I feel like you do have enough to cover the ground and cover the spaces. You have Chalaba and Mamadou Sarr. I'm sorry, Wesley Fofana, for me, I'm over it. Like I'm absolutely over it, man. Like I think, like I said in my tier list, I give him one more season, and I'm still holding to that. But Mamadou Sarr needs game time, and I feel like he hasn't really put a foot wrong since he's been playing. He has not put a foot wrong, and when he started, he's looked decent. So that's why I have him there at left sided fullback, at left center back. Mark Cucurella, you know, he needs to play in this game. He's very important going forward. His cutback crosses, his world class cutbacks is something you need in this game. With the attacking players I have up front, they should be getting some type of opportunities, especially at home where we haven't been playing well, but we do create opportunities. I do feel like a few of those will go in the back of the net this weekend, hopefully. Romeo Lavia, Caicedo as the double pivot in midfield. I want to see Lavia play and start this game. It's like I keep saying, when he does play, he is class, but he needs a run of games and he just needs to stay fit and not pick up any injuries, man. If he's fit, healthy, and ready to go, I do feel like Chelsea's midfield is incredibly balanced, physical, and they do have enough line breaking passing in that midfield to cause a lot of problems to kick off counterattacks. Enzo Fernandez just above them, playing that more advanced eight role. I'm not saying he's going to be the attacking midfielding role, because I do see a world where Enzo will push out a little bit more. It drops Palmer in there a little bit more, João Pedro, and then you still have Garnacho up in here. But I'd like Garnacho to stay a bit more wide, even though Cucurella will pinch up here, but will come up and get into the attack a lot more. I do feel like Palmer will be going inside a bit more just to receive the ball and actually drive in towards that Newcastle backline rather than when he's playing in the attacking midfield role. I feel like he does struggle a little bit more in just being able to get out of those situations. And maybe the injuries is really affecting how effective he can cut. But when he's out there on the right, he looks a little bit more dangerous, and he takes more chances, right? So Palmer for me is out there on the right hand side with the ability to cut in. João Pedro, obviously up front, starting striker. No more Liam Delap. If João Pedro has to play the 90 minutes, he's gonna have to play the 90 minutes in this game. I don't want to see Liam Delap in this game, especially if we're down. I don't want to see him come into this game because you already know he's not going to get a good opportunity up. He's not going to get a good shot off, and he's a shithousery player at the end of the day. He's not, in my opinion, he's not cut out to wear the Chelsea shirt. He just isn't. And then Garnacho for me is on the left, with Pedro Neto not being available for this game. Garnacho is the only option out there on the left, and that's the right option to have out there on the left. Pedro Neto, that experiment, that time with Chelsea is coming to an end at the end of this season. Like, there's no more of this shenanigans with him playing for himself, playing selfishly, and all that stuff, and just getting sent off stupidly. Now you're missing another game when you just got a red card not that long ago. So you've missed two of the last three Premier League games because you're a bonehead, bro. A bonehead. So what could we expect out of this lineup? You expect chance creation, you expect high ball possession, right? But at the back, with the two center backs I have, Trevor Chalobah plays well if the other center back is actually playing decent and has some type of composure. Mamadou Sarr, in the time that he has played with us, has shown composure and he hasn't really put a foot wrong. People want to get on him for his aerial ability. It's like you're going up against two of the best aerial threats in Europe. And the kid's 19 years old. Like, what do you want him to do? It's his first Premier League start. Well, like, what do you want him to do? Right? I feel like that was a tough game for him to start, but starting him at the bridge against Newcastle, I think is the right option here. Only because if you're not going to play West in this game, you save him for the game against PSG. But even then, like, the guy's a bonehead, man. And I don't like talking about players like this, but his decision making on the pitch is just so questionable, man. And it's cost us games. It's almost cost us goals in games. You can remember the Aston Villa game when he threw himself to the ground because he got poked in the eye. It's like, bro, honestly, you we could have been down 2 or 3-1 at that point. It's just crazy, man. But if I have to go for a result here, if I have to go for my prediction, right, with this lineup, surely we can't drop points at home again, can we? Like, are we going to really sit here and drop more points at home? You know, I've had some mad predictions lately, and I feel like this one is going to be a little bit more realistic given how we've been. I wouldn't say realistic. I would say, like, this is what I'm expecting out of this game. I'm expecting Chelsea to win this game 3-1, but it would not surprise me if they draw this game 2-2. I'm going to go with my heart and say Chelsea will win this game 3-1, but it's going to be a late 3-1 win rather than it's a very easy victory for us because we're going to struggle in this game. We're going to be under pressure in certain moments of this game, and we will concede under that pressure. But I do think we have a good start. We score early. New, Newcastle will equalize before the half, and then we go into the second half where the game's up for grabs. We get the game into like the 70th minute, we score, and then we score again in like the 85th, 86th minute to put the game to bed. But it's not going to be an easy game. So I got Chelsea winning 3-1, but my head is telling me this is a 2-2 draw written all over it. Right? A 2-2 draw written all over it. But my heart is telling me 3-1 Chelsea, but my head is telling me 2-2. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this lineup, what you're expecting out of this game, your predictions, your lineups, and who your man of the match is going to be. I'm going to go ahead and put my man of the match right here, right now. I'm going to show you guys who I think is going to actually be. With this lineup, man, you know what? I'm going to do a wild one here. I think Garnacho is going to be the man of the match. I think he's going to have his stellar game tomorrow. I think with him not coming on against PSG till very late, I think he's going to have a very good game with the point to prove that he should be starting out there on the left against PSG on Tuesday night. But with that being said, I'm going to jump into this diabolical information that we got in regards to the ownership model and everything like that. And man, it is just some ridiculous crap that we got going on here, bro. So I'm going to take a quick cut and then I'll see you guys over there, man. So some unbelievable information came out yesterday, and I did a couple shorts on them, but I wanted to give my full reaction to them. So, a Twitter page called Not a Project CFC, the guys that organized the protests on January 17th before the game against Brentford outside of the bridge. Um, a group of fans met with a club director recently, and we actually found out that it was Matisse Armani, a very, very, very popular Chelsea content creator. And I'm going to read his first before I get into the actual article that I'm going to read to you guys. Just to clarify, yes, Daniel Finkelstein invited me to a meeting along with other fans around the time of the protest to shed some light on and to answer the many problems we have with the ownership, from commercial deals, lack of front of shirt sponsor, first team and multi-club model purchases via directors, vivid seats, stadium plans, heavy briefing, CFC, LDN marketing, and nepotism and staff hires across the club. It was a good conversation. He was very kindly clear that he did not invite me to manipulate or change my opinion on the ownership, just to explain their point of view and plan. Since then, my opinion on Blue has not changed. I do not trust the recruitment of the directors. I do not praise the short-term front of sponsor and mention the money lost over the last two seasons with the 60 million asking price. They are in a deficit. I didn't mention it as there is no new information that we didn't already know. The club are stubborn with their approach, think they're heading in the right direction, and will continue with what they're doing. I have no interest in being in the know. I am I'm a fan with opinions that won't change until I see serious improvement at all levels of the club, which I don't see happening. So, as I said months ago, when Maresca was sacked, Bluco out, I'm not in the game of repeating myself. If my stance changes, I'll say so. So, that's a lot of information that we need to talk about here, right? And then we're going to go over this right here. And this is the stuff right here that they're honestly, and it's like I saw a few people say yesterday, like Eunice and a lot of other people, man, they're taking us along for a fucking ride, dude. They're literally dangling the carrot, man. Like they're throwing live bait at us and they're reeling us in. Like it's just absolutely crazy what is going on right now behind the scenes. So, on the departure of Enzo Maresca, the director said that a coach's overall impact is overestimated, that there is no statistical relationship between managers and results. How do you come to that conclusion? How? Right? And I saw some weird thing. I think I actually have it here. Let me pull this up real quick about Pep Guardiola, bro. Because, yeah, it's right here. Like, this is crazy to me. So, the other side of the coin, right? Another great Chelsea YouTuber. Go ahead and check him out, right? Based on our board of directors' perspective, Man City would have been just as dominant without Pep Guardiola. Liverpool would have been just as successful without Jurgen Klopp. Thomas Tuchel had nothing to do with our last UCL glory. Why? Because manager impact is overestimated. So, realistically, what the board is saying here like what the board is saying here is that it doesn't matter you don't need a manager to have good results. You just need to have the right players, and then you can bring whoever in and you'll get the results. That's not how it works, man. That is not how it works, because a lot of these players need a manager's guidance, elite manager's guidance, to have them win the major pieces of silverware that they want to achieve. Chelsea wants to win the major pieces of silverware, but they're turning into a player factory, which gets actually later on into this article, bro. It's ridiculous, right? The director could not put a timeline on when Chelsea will compete at the top level. Actually, no. I skipped the part. According to the board directive, problems with Enzo Maresca stemmed from him not being offered the same contract details that the sporting directors had in place. So the guy gets you top four, wins two pieces of silverware for you, and he can't have a say on which players come in or out of the club. I believe he deserves at least some kind of pool, because the guy came from Leicester and nobody gave him a shot to get top four or win any trophies last season. And he did three of those things and actually made the team a lot better with a better mentality. Like in the big games, Enzo Maresca is not losing that game against PSG. And he's probably not starting Flip Jorgensen in that game. He's probably starting Robert Sanchez. But even then, he wanted a new goalkeeper in the summer. So he didn't have the most faith. But Robert Sanchez proved himself under Enzo Maresca. He absolutely did. Absolutely. And then ESPN wants to put out some type of article yesterday comparing Sanchez to Flip Jorgensen under Liam Rosini. It's like, do the whole season. Why are we doing it just under Liam Rosini? Do it the whole season. Show show the totality of the season and how good Sanchez has actually been this season. Sanchez's form has dropped since Liam Rosini came in, right? It's it's crazy. The director could not put a timeline on when Chelsea will compete at the top level again, but if it was fucking obvious we are building one of the best teams in the world, the director denied they were being condescending and told us we have no more right to be upset than they do, despite the fact we are paying fans. So people who are paying to go to these games, people that are paying subscription services to watch these games, this guy is gaslighting the hell out of us here, bro. Gaslighting the hell out of us, man. The club's effort to reduce the wage bill has been seen as means of offsetting the spend on players so far, and the director was honest about there being no appetite to compete for more established Premier League signings. A handful of players that have been successful for us were given some sort of justification for this approach. So players like Cole Palmer, Enzo, Caicedo, Cucurella, Reece James, right? Those players are getting improved contract terms because they're playing well and they've exceeded the expectations that the board signed them on all those years ago, except for Reece James because he's a Cobham grad. Outside of that, the players that they have brought in have exceeded expectations and they've gotten improved contract terms. Enzo and Caicedo are still waiting for theirs. They're going to get theirs at some point. But the fact that you're not competing for established Premier League quality or European quality players is a disservice to your fan base. We want to see entertaining football. We want to see the best players come to the bridge. How dare you not even attempt to make a signing for these players? But why can't we make these attempts? We have no money. They spent all this money on young players that don't have a sniff at the first team. David Washington, right? A guy that we're never going to see hit the first team. He'll be in the squad once in a blue moon, but he's not going to be ever seeing Stamford Bridge in his life. That's just the reality of what is going on here, right? The club director spoke very disrespectfully about what was achieved under the previous ownership and of individuals involved in that time. In their view, the current project, consisting of vast expenditure and player churn, is the only means with which we hope to compete at the elite level at some point in the future. So it's like I said, they're honestly trying to turn Chelsea into a player factory, right? Like Brighton, like a Borussia Dortmund, even though Borussia Dortmund are a perennial Champions League team, a European team, they're still considered a feeder club. Why is Chelsea being turned into a feeder club? We're not supposed to be feeding any club. We're supposed to be attracting the best players in the world, right? The club director expressed surprise that in the view of the club still being 13 points off the top of the table at this time, that has now risen to 19 points, guys. In the fourth season of a transitional period, fans are not showing any more patience, and we haven't been showing patience since you walked through the door. We finished 12th under your first season of ownership, which is a disservice. It is disrespectful. You took over this club as Champions League winners with experience, with a European winning manager, an experienced manager, a guy that's won league titles, European titles, and all that stuff, and you get rid of him because he wants to have a backbone? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Although the director admitted they hope for more progress this season. What progress are you going to have if you continue to sign young players and you're not going after the ambitious signings like Victor Osimhen? Right? Could you imagine if Chelsea had Victor Osimhen and João Pedro in this team? Chelsea would be competing for the Premier League right now. Right now. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's how good Victor Osimhen is. With João Pedro as a second striker, stop it. You just stop, bro. Like seriously, Luis Enrique, a guy that I don't really like because of his antics or what he did after the Club World Cup. Luis Enrique would not have been the right fit as a manager, which is ridiculous. He's a great manager, man. And John Terry is not a right fit professionally and should not be involved in first team affairs. That's the kind of guy you want in the first team. The guy with the Chelsea mentality that knows what it means to play for the badge. You need players that have played for the club on the first team staff. And I'm sure a lot of these players would appreciate if John Terry came in there and was on the coaching staff, man. I'm pretty damn sure they would do that. They would love it because they're learning from somebody that has been there, done that, worn the badge, played in front of the fans, won trophies, and was the club captain for over 20 years. You cannot sit there and tell me professionally this would not be the right move. This is what I think is going to ultimately happen with this ownership group. I think in the summertime, Chelsea don't get Champions League football. They get knocked out of the Champions League this season. They don't win the FA Cup. I think this ownership group will back out of their 10-year deal because people keep saying they don't have to sell. They can sell. They have 10 years to make a profit off of this. And right now, they're losing money off of owning this football club. Why? Because they don't know how to run a football club. It's not the same thing as private equity. This is different. You're a publicly traded brand. You're a worldwide known brand. This is why I think in the summertime, I think enough is enough. And I think that's when they're going to put the club up for sale. I was thinking about this last night, given everything that's been put out over the past 8 to 9 months with this football club. I think this is the summer where if they don't pack up and sell now, they're going to stay the duration of the 10 years and they're going to completely ruin this football club. But I have a feeling that this club is going to pick up, or the owners rather, Blue Co, is going to get their shit, pack up, and leave. Somebody out there is going to want to buy Chelsea. Somebody out there is going to want to buy Chelsea. It's just a matter of who and when. If anybody out there watching, billionaires, millionaires, or a consortium group is out there, approach these owners and buy this football club. If you care about the sport, please, oh, please, buy the club off of these owners. This club does not deserve to be in the shambles behind the scenes that they are, and it's trickling onto the pitch. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. That is my preview and my news roundup for today. I appreciate if you made it this far in the video. I know it's a long video. Drop a like, sub, drop your thoughts on everything that we talked about in this video. I will be uploading shorts throughout the day today while I'm at work and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm Jason, No Filter Chelsea. I appreciate you guys watching. Drop a like, sub, comment, share. Video should be popping up throughout the video. But yeah, man, I'm out. Peace out. Up to Chelsea. Hopefully, we pick up those 3 points. Like I said, I think Chelsea won 3-1, but my head is telling me it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I'll see you guys later, bro.